A long time ago, there were a group of men running around a court next to an apartment complex. They were passing a medium-sized ball that was fairly hard until one man decides to throw the ball 10 feet up in the air. And bam, there it was. Everyone starts cheering. The ball went into the basket and the opposing team had to grab a ladder, climb 10 feet up, and drag the ball down from the basket. And the game would continue on like this for hours. I was told a story of basketball a few years ago and wanted to know how we've improved from climbing a ladder and getting a ball from a basket to our modern game of basketball. Today, I would like to inform you about Mr. Naismith, the inventor, how basketball became popular, and lastly, Americans' ranking in the sport, and using the acronym NBA. First, let me start off by telling you about Mr. Naismith, the inventor. James Naismith was a fairly old man, and we were thinking, well, why would he come up with an active sport such as basketball? He was a physical education teacher at the institution of, or the organization of YMCA, and he was trying to get the kids and the adults to be active, and that was his job, right, to make them exercise. But during the winter, they'd be snowed in, and what exercise would they have? For us, our winter, we could still go out, but winter in the East Coast, where he was teaching around Massachusetts, they were like snowed in for long periods of time, for months. And so he was given an assignment of creating a sport that we could use indoor. And so this is how he came up with basketball. Quote that I'd like to state from Columbia University is, he conceived the game in 1891 and wrote the first rules. He was an honored guest when the sport debuted as an Olympic sport in 1936. Now that I've told you about Mr. Naismith, the inventor, I would like to tell you about the B in NBA, which is how basketball became popular. According to Forbes magazine, they said, college basketball was far more widespread and popular than any professional league. College students came together in 1898 and organized the first National Basketball League. This is one way that the sport became popular, but the worldwide aspect of it, it was through the YMCA organization. So basketball started in Springfield, Massachusetts in a small little YMCA gym, and people would come watch. And then those students who would just leave the organization and probably move states or even go on Christian mission trips would take that idea of basketball and play it with other YMCA organizations. And the quote that I read about college basketball was just how it sparked an interest in America. When college kids started playing basketball and they came together and organized a league, people were intrigued by this. So they were like, okay, let's go watch this competition. So it was like going to watch a football game or a rugby game, which were popular sports back in the day. Now that I've told you about the B in NBA and how basketball became popular through college leagues and the YMCA organization, I'd like to explain the A in NBA, which is how Americans are doing in the sport. And I'd like, wait, not yet. So America was, created a team and went to the Olympics in 1936. And according to the Olympic magazine, they state basketball became part of the Summer Olympics starting in 1936 and dominated the competition, winning first 7 tournaments without losing a single game. In 2012, the U.S. Olympic team scored a record in a 156-73 romp over Nigeria, setting a record for the largest margin of victory. Now that's pretty amazing, and this is how we grew from playing basketball on a court with bringing a ladder and carrying the ball to like being the #1 team over the world. And I'd like to play my video. So this, I don't know if many of you have seen this, but this is just a commercial of one of our famous basketball players, Kobe Bryant. And this is just to explain that America not only ranked well in like the Olympics and our NBA games, but our players and our teams are world known, like they're world famous. This is Kobe Bryant doing a commercial for Turkish Airlines, and it just shows how far America has gone through the sport, and how our basketball players now are being involved in commercials and advertisements and whatnot. Today, I have talked to you about Mr. Naismith the inventor, how basketball became popular, and lastly, about how America ranked in the sport and how basketball led them to do great things such as advertisement. For the ending of my story that I started with in the intro, a lady one day was watching these guys play this game, and she was laughing. She thought it was ridiculous how every time the people would cheer, the other team would have to grab a ladder and climb up. So what she decided to do was tell them, hey, if you just cut a hole through that little basket on the top, the ball's going to drop by itself and there'd be no interruption. Thank you.